Hello, I'm Stephen Englander as always, and we're on Between the Spreadsheets. Today's guest is Adam Sinkus, all the way from Florida, and he's today we're going to talk about communication and its effect on small businesses. We'll probably talk about another few things, and if Adam can get a word in edgeways, he'll say the same thing. So, hello, Adam. You run your own podcast as well, don't you? You
I
perhaps,
do. I do.
yeah,
It's a lot less work being on this side of the podcast
yeah,
than running your own show.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
You know what can go right and go wrong.
oh,
Well,
of
well,
course.
Adam, I know we were talking before, and I've sort of mentioned I deal with a lot of small businesses, and I find that there's two big problems with small businesses, um, and it's I don't mean to be rude with it, and obviously not everybody falls in the same category. One of them is apathy. People only move when when the pain of moving is less than the pain of staying.
Yep.
And the other thing, which is not always great, is communication. And I don't just mean communication like you and I are having a conversation, but this is something you preach, isn't it? So tell me what you do to alleviate that.
Yeah, it is. Communication, especially over like the last year, has really changed. We've gone away from a whole lot of in person, face to face conversation. And as business owners, we've had to find creative ways to network and meet people. And what's frustrating about it is everything that we have in conversation now is just so scheduled. Meaning, if I want to have a conversation with you, I send you a calendar invite. We get
Mm,
a link. We hop on Zoom or 8x8 or any number of different platforms and have that conversation. And what the challenge with that is as a social species, we are preconditioned to have unintentional conversation. It's one of the things that really builds innovative ideas and creative ideas with us. And so that's really been the biggest challenge, and small business owners are seeing this as they have to find new ways to communicate with their clients, finding new ways to communicate with their teams and manage their teams, with work at home and everybody being dispersed. And it's opened opportunities, but it's also kind of closed some doors that people are used to living in.
Well, I know. For me, for instance, I've been one of the people that's been in shielding a lot more than most. But what it's done for me is I actually like it because I'm talking to people online, and I'm actually talking to more people.
Hmm.
And I find the fact that you can schedule a conversation is great because you don't just have people turning up and barging in, and you can schedule your day a lot better. In fact, you're forced to schedule your day a lot better. And there is a divide, a massive divide between certain age groups, and I notice younger people, just run into it, and but people older um, struggle with it a bit more. And it's not just the technology; it's the whole. I don't want to speak to people online. It's not real speak.
Yeah, unintentional conversation has a big place in how we communicate with people. And I've been doing quite a bit of reading on this, and one of the things that I found was really interesting about it is I found an editorial that talked about is our modern communication, our schedule, so much scheduled communication, actually impacting innovation in the business world, right? Because we've gotten away from water cooler chat.
Water cooler chat. We don't
What
have water coolers in the UK.
water
We
cooler chat.
we put pans out the window, and it fills with water.
Water cooler chat just simply being that unintentional conversation when you run into somebody, when you're going to get a cup of coffee, when you're
Yeah,
walking to the bathroom, when you're
yeah.
run into the copier, things like that. It's that
You mean football
unintentional.
chat?
Yeah.
Talking about football, yeah. Nice chat. Chat we don't want to see at work.
Yeah,
Why are you talking about football when we've got three sets of accounts to get out? That type of chat.
exactly. But within that, though, right, there's an opportunity for us to innovate in those conversations too. Because if I have a quick just a quick question, and I come down to your office and say, hey, I've been trying to figure this out and I'm struggling with it. Do you have any ideas?
Mm.
It's a lot easier to do that in a physical location than it
Yeah,
is in a virtual
yeah.
space, right? Instead, what we tend to do, and I know I do this and I'm terrible about it, is I will schedule that call, and instead of that one thing that could just be a 10 or a 15 minute, quick conversation, I now have scheduled an hour because I have backlogged like 15 things.
Mhm.
And usually what happens is I don't have the greatest steel trap memory on all this stuff, so I end up missing something that was important. I get back to what I was doing, and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to ask about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I know a lot of the businesses we deal with, they're sort of smaller businesses,
Mhm,
so they've not got 20, 30, 40 people that would be looking for innovative ideas around the water cooler. Where I think a big problem lies within the sort of community I mix in, it's that communication with the client, with the
mhm.
customer, to bring out, because I know when and I know in my world, and I've not always been in accounts, I've been in all sorts of things, but I know that opportunity comes from conversation if it's directed, if it's focused. And
Mhm.
that's why I was joking about the football thing. If you just talk about football, you might bond a bit. So there's a little bit of that. It's a bit of trust creation. But really, we want to get to well, what is it that you need? How can we deal with that? How can we solve that problem? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so I mean, even with clients, right? There's is the sales process used to be very tactile, meaning,
Mm,
we go into a client's office, knock on their door,
mm,
have a face-to-face meeting,
yeah.
and there's a lot of trust built in that face-to-face interaction because we have
Yes.
a really, really good opportunity to really gain a pretty, I think, accurate first impression of people.
Yeah.
And so what's changed though is because we can't go face to face, because we can't go knock on their office door and sit down in their conference room and have this wonderful conversation,
Mm,
talk a little football, talk a little business, and
yeah.
everybody's happy and walks away. It's changed that dynamic. So now I don't know about you, but I get spammed probably 15, 20 times a day
Oh, I'm
on
sorry. I'll stop sending them.
with just these hard pitches. Hey, I do this thing and you should buy my product, right? And
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and that's where that worked when you were knocking on somebody's door, because you
Mm,
could have a, hey, how you doing, introduce yourself and have a little bit
yeah.
of rapport building. You don't get that same perspective
No.
online. And
So
so
what do you do? What is it your mission? What are you trying to achieve here then? Are you training people um, how to talk properly, how to communicate properly?
Yeah, so one of the big
Mhm.
things that I focus on in marketing, in working with marketing companies, is how do we get that message out there, right? And there's
Yeah.
a couple of different pieces. So there's that initial, I want to connect with somebody, I want to build that connection, but it doesn't start there, and that's where most people, I think, fail in this.
Mm,
Is it starts with building a relationship, and how do we do that online? Well, there's a couple different ways we can do that. It's engaging in their content. It's uh, starting with more of a soft pitch, right? Relationship first. So
mhm,
I connect with people all the time on LinkedIn, and as long as I have a message that doesn't seem like, hey, buy my services.
mm,
Most people will connect with you, and then you can
mm.
engage in their content. And when
Yeah.
I say engage in their content, be active on their comments,
Mm,
ask questions, make a conversation there,
yeah.
so that when you do that direct reach out to them, whether it be by phone, email, direct message on a social platform, now you have some of that trust built up.
Mm,
That's the rapport building
yeah.
piece, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I remember many years ago, I used to sell handbags actually from the back of my van years and years ago. And the first rule of sales was you sell yourself
Mhm.
before the product. And I was talking to my office manager this morning, funny enough, about the same thing. And she says, "Oh, like a prostitute." I said, "Well, perhaps not, but okay." So she said, "No, I gave that up because I used to have to give refunds." Sorry, bum bum. So tell me a little about. I mean, I know you're very into this, and you do a lot of podcasts, and people should tune into your podcast, and your details will come up beneath us at some point, and people can go straight and watch your podcast, which are all about communication and how to present yourself. So that's very good. But you've got a bigger mission here. You've got a bigger project here as well, haven't you? With the 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 pay it forward, pay it Tuesday. Is it
Yeah,
sorry?
Pay It Forward
Pay,
Tuesdays.
pay it forward Tuesdays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good name. Why pay it forward Tuesday?
So, it's all about giving back to the
Yeah.
community, right? My buddy Chuck Hester, awesome guy. He came to me in the beginning of December, and we just had like a 5-minute phone call, and he goes, "So one of my clients just told me that there's 5 Tuesdays in December, and I want to find a way that we can give back." And so we kind of put our heads together and said, "Well, we can give consulting time." And so we kind of put out the message that we were looking to have folks nominated that could use consulting and marketing and brand strategy. And before we know it, we had 3 other consultants that came to us and said, we want to be a part of this.
Mm.
And so then we added PR and business strategy and social media to it as well. And so we
The full
gave away
package.
we gave away 20 or 2.5 hours to 4 separate folks in December of consulting time, free
Mm.
consulting time, and it's
Tell me
uh,
something. Are you able to offer your services to people in the UK?
yeah,
Yeah.
worldwide.
Yeah.
The great thing about our program, it's a peer nomination program. It's all
Mm.
about just giving back to the business community. What we find is, nonprofits, startups, entrepreneurs just a lot of times don't have the resources to hire
Mm.
a consultant.
No, they don't. They
Consulting
don't.
is expensive. I
Mm.
mean,
No, it
yeah.
is. But I mean, there are plenty of consultants in the UK, but I've found that I've had a couple of for people that we're working with.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've seen any of our other podcasts, but we do have people. I mean, we've got one lady in Canada. We've got another 2 people in Canada. One's switches between New York and Jerusalem, and we're happy working with people all over the world now. And this is one of the massive advantages over this new form of communication.
Yep.
That I mean, for instance, I've got one client. He was my personal trainer, and he's gone online and
Hmm.
he's picking up clients all over the world. I'm not saying he's gone massive. He's just, the world is now a place we can deal with
Yeah.
people, and I think there's something about the American accent that sort of is more go ahead and oh, should we do this tomorrow? But sorry, all you English consultants, I know you're absolutely brilliant, all of you, because I suppose I'm one as well. But yeah, so everybody out there,
Yeah.
there is this great program full of PR people and web people and general social media people, and Americans are a bit more down to earth because they don't have that staying brain power that British people have. So they're all about communication. They're all about the gloss.
Yeah.
British people are about substance, but sometimes when we mark, I'm just being rude about Americans, and you're saying yes, okay, but
We are what we are, huh?
but you can definitely I like this idea, and this nominating people, a peer nomination. So somebody that might nominate you to,
Mhm.
and you will pick a people every month, or
Yep.
sorry, every Tuesday, and say
Once a
right out
month
of
and
once
once
a
a
month.
month now. Yeah.
So yeah,
It was a lot of work trying to do it every week, and we
yeah.
all have, full-time jobs and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah.
I don't. I just sit here all day talking to people.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel if I talk to successful people, it might rub off. But I like that. That's a great idea because we sometimes I do things like that, but it's called a try before you buy,
Mhm.
rather than let's get a group of people that says this guy's got a good little idea here, and maybe a couple of hours, 2.5 hours of free time is sometimes all you need to put people on the right track, and it lets them get to know you, doesn't it? So everybody watching this program, contact Adam. Please get involved with marketing your business, improving your communication. Even the best of us can do with a bit more of that, and it's fun. It's great fun. And so contact Adam direct. Emails coming up, and or just if you're a bit shy, contact me and I'll put you in touch. So sorry, Adam. So just going off on something else, because something else you do that's very interesting as well, which is the CoWork Hub.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. So I had a great opportunity to work with a platform last year and doing some marketing services for
Mm,
them and fell in love with this platform. It's a virtual office platform. And I was like, this is really, really cool for people that have a team of say 10, 15, 20, up to, thousands of people, to
mm,
bring them into a physical office. But, I work with a lot of coaches and consultants and freelancers, and they don't have the opportunity to have access to tools like this because it just doesn't make sense to have a virtual office if you're just a person, right?
mm,
There's a lot of tools that can do that. So I came up with the idea of CoWork Hub Virtual
mm,
as the first truly virtual co-working space. And we don't have a physical location. It is all online. You log into your office, just like you would, drive to your office.
mm.
You log in. It's got a background. Mine right now has a kind of a log cabiny feel to it because it just makes me feel good to be in the mountains
Okay,
and log cabin and
I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah.
so you log in there and I do all of my client meetings there as well, so they come in, I get video chat just like Zoom or 8x8 or any one of those. I can host up to 10 people in my office. We also have conference rooms available that host up to 50 people as well, all on video. So you can do master classes and seminars and things like
Oh,
that virtually as well through the platform. But what makes it different than just a Zoom or an 8x8 is as a member of the CoWork Hub Virtual, you actually can see who else is online at any given time, and you can actually get that, so to speak. I can virtually walk down the hall and talk to the people in their office, right, and have that unintentional conversation again. It's a great space because a lot of consultants and coaches and freelancers, they use the co-working spaces as a place to build that sense of community, have people to bounce ideas off of and network with. And
mm.
so we're just recreating that in a
And it's
purely online
like
space.
everybody's permanently connected. Is that so
Yeah.
really you don't actually, you can still be a one man band, because these days we're all in partnerships with different people.
Yeah.
So we've got the guy that specializes in that, and you're all working together. So we can have 10, 15 different people working together as a sort of virtual company, if you like.
Yeah.
That's
For sure. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. You can work on your own projects, you can partner up with people,
yeah,
it opens the door for these solopreneurs, these people that are, that work by themselves, to be able to have that community and have that sense of going to a place and having conversation with people and
right,
being able to, to work through projects and things like
right.
that.
I can just see a problem though. Where
Yeah.
do you put the water cooler?
We actually have a break room space as well, and it's
Okay,
different. Looks different than the offices. It
right,
actually has, so that's another really cool feature when you change locations. Like my
yeah,
office is the log cabin you feel. When I go to a conference room, it looks like a conference room,
right,
feels like a conference room.
right.
When you go to the break room, it feels like a break room.
So if you get your cup, so you get a cup, and you put it under the computer, and you get some water. Yeah. Now, is that could be an optional extra, couldn't it? You could sell that separately. A water cooler attaches to your screen, and maybe that's what to work out.
Maybe.
You see, this is why people don't talk to me. But I think there's a lot that you can offer. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff here. I particularly like the pay it forward Tuesdays, because not because it's a freebie, but because it's a chance for people to try something. Well, how do you nominate somebody?
So real easy, go to payitforwardtuesdays.org. And at the top of the page, you'll see a link for nominations. Click on there and fill out the form.
Yeah.
And we review those about once a month. And so we get in contact. So you can, if you have a local business, like I said, we focus on startups, entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
nonprofits, small businesses that
Mm.
just need that step forward.
No, I think it's great.
So,
I think it's good.
and
Yeah.
it is purely about paying it forward.
Mm.
We don't ask for anything in
Yeah.
return. It's just about giving that information to help somebody out. So,
Mm.
and our goal is once you're in the Pay It Forward family, as we call it, and become a Pay It Forward alumni, that you continue the trend and pay it forward to somebody else at some point in
Yeah.
time as well.
Yeah. And you've got, like we said before, you've got PR guy, you got web design,
Yep.
you've got social media, SEO,
hmm
anything else? Pizza
Um,
delivery.
we got business strategy consultant as
Okay,
well.
that's important. That's very
Yep.
important.
And then we have a gentleman that is really well versed in bridging the gap between the marketing and sales aspect of your business. So,
Ah,
uh,
a lot of people don't realize what that means. That the between sales and marketing.
yeah,
So yeah, because I just say marketing is just sales that you've not made, so you're trying to justify the expense. But I know there's a lot more to it. I do. I just say that to people just to be provocative. To annoy them.
the way I always frame it up is marketing is the message, sales is the vehicle, right? So,
Okay.
marketing creates the messaging and the story, and
Yeah.
sales is the vehicle to push that story out
Yeah.
and convert it into revenue.
Yeah. 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 Um, when we first started talking on this podcast, I mentioned that I saw apathy and lack of communications as quite big problems that we all need to solve. Where do you see what sort of challenges have you had to overcome with people? Is
Some of the biggest challenges I see, honestly, is really fear. I think that's honestly the biggest challenge that I see with small business owners is fear, and fear presents itself in tons of different ways. But it comes down to when challenges. Business owners tend to be reactive instead of proactive, and small business owners especially tend to be reactive because
Mm,
they are struggling with how do I handle this next thing that's put in front of me,
yes,
because at the end of the day, most small business owners are not experts at marketing and finance and running a business. They're experts at what they do, so
mm,
whether that be accounting, whether that be your roofer, whether that be
yeah,
construction, whether that be insurance, they're experts in that, and that's why they're business owners. And so
mm,
some of those other challenges face them, and they get paralyzed by fear.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I just actually had a guest on my podcast this yesterday, and we were talking about fear and mindset,
mm,
specifically, and overcoming that. But it is something that is very real for a lot of business owners,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
can't just let the fear take over. You have to sometimes push through it, and other times you have to figure out how to shift your mindset
yeah,
into a more positive
yeah,
space as well. So that usually, in my experience and the people that I work with, usually comes with just being able to have somebody that's knowledgeable in the challenge that you have, because that a lot of times is the start of the fear, is I
yeah,
don't know how to do this, right?
yeah,
So so just by engaging with somebody that's knowledgeable, say it's a marketing challenge, by engaging somebody that's knowledgeable in marketing, they can help you overcome that fear of
yeah.
not being successful with it.
Sometimes just somebody there is
Yep.
enough, isn't it? Well, there's another fear as well that I've mentioned a couple of times, and that's the fear of success,
hmm
where you're scared that when you succeed, it brings something to the table that you don't want. I know when I first started off, I'd win a new client, and that was great because it grew the business. I've got a little extra money coming in, but then there was also that fear that that, oh, they're going to drive me up the wall. They're going to be phoning me in the evenings, and if they pay too much tax, they're going to be screaming at me, and and sometimes you've got to put things in place to protect yourself from those fears. You
Yeah.
know,
You
yeah,
know, there's truly that is another side of fear is
yeah,
success, right? And I've seen that come to fruition in the fact that there sometimes businesses are afraid of growing beyond where they're at because they're comfortable in their current
yeah,
model, right? And
yeah,
so they want to make an extra $1 million this year, but they're also really comfortable with how things operate today. And
yeah.
how things operate today often are not what's going to make you your next $1 million,
Right.
so
Is it great when you talk to Americans and say the next $1 million? In England, we don't talk next $1 million. We say, if we can just make an extra few £100. But you know something, it's been an absolute delight talking to you, Adam. I've learned things. I hope everybody's listened to this. It's nice to speak to people that are so involved in what they're doing. And remember, like I say, if you want to contact Adam, do contact direct. If you don't feel like you want to contact direct, then come through me and I'll make a formal introduction. I'm sure you'll see a lot more of Adam around. I've seen his podcast growing. I've seen his popularity growing. So lots of luck in the future, Adam. And I'll see everybody at the next podcast. So take care of yourself. Bye bye.